on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate your stress level this week? What is happening when that alarm is never shutting off?
I notice that I'm either not processing things the same way, or I'm not able to think as fast.
I'm Anamika, your host for today. Today's session centers on a theme that touches all of us, balancing life, work, and the invisible pressures that come with carrying it all. As we celebrate women and their remarkable contributions, the insights are valuable for everyone joining today's session because understanding stress, resilience, and well being benefits us all, both personally and professionally. Thank you for taking the time to join. Let's hit that pause button together, reconnect with ourselves and each other, and make the most of this hour. But before I hand it over to Cam, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce our wonderful speaker for today. She is someone who leads with both vision and empathy. As the president of IT by Design, she plays a key role in shaping our organization's strategy, culture, and growth. But beyond leadership and business results, she is deeply passionate about conversations that help people grow not professionally but personally as well. She strongly believes that success should never come at the cost of well being and that understanding our limits, our stress, and our capacity is essential to living and working with intention. Everyone, please join me in welcoming our very own Cam. Cam, over to you.
Oh, well, it was funny, Anamika. I was like, oh, there's another guest. I was like, oh, and then I heard the introduction. I was like, oh, there's somebody else coming? Wait a second. I didn't know we had another guest. Hi, good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. I am so excited to be with all of you today. I'm sitting in my Sunster seat today, a big seat to fill. I hope I do it justice because this is such a wonderful program that you all have. It's my second time in this seat, so I'm excited. I had a little bit of a better understanding of what I wanted to talk about. So I brought a topic that affects all of us, but it affects, women a little bit differently than it does men. Outcomes sometimes tend to be the same. We all deal with stress. It's just what kind of an impact does that have in our bodies, right? And so, as you know, I'm a constant go, 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 go. And when you're always going, stress is something that you can tend to deal with. And so, one of the things that comes with it is high cortisol levels. And so we're going to talk a little bit about stress. How do we manage stress? What are those different components? It's applicable to each and every one of you, not just women. It just affects us women a little bit differently. Those extra 10 pounds we can't seem to get rid of. That those are the type of things that, and men too, but it's just a matter of how are we going to deal with it. So today we're going to talk about stress, science, and the permission to just take a moment and just pause, as my sister likes to say. Okay, can you see my screen, right, Anamika?
We do.
Yes, Cam.
Oh, perfect. So we're going to talk about what it does to our body, why it hits us women differently a little bit, and then what we all do and can do about stress. So this isn't again, I don't want it to be a lecture. I want it to be a learning session. But it's something that it's important to me because, a couple of years ago, my cortisol level was really high and my body went into extremely parasympathetic mode. What that means is that it's fight or flight is basically what your body does, right? Cortisol helps your body fight, right? When we get stressed and we need a little bit of it, it's great sometimes, but when we're in a constant state of stress, then what that does is that our body is unable to stop fighting. And so when you're in a constant stress mode, your body isn't able to fight anymore at all. And that's when your immune system gets impacted. That's when you start getting more sick. That's when you can't fight that cold that was easy before. You're inflamed. And so a lot of different things start to happen to your body. You're always tired. Those are the things we have to start being able to recognize in our bodies. And so today we're going to do a little bit deeper, right? And we're going to talk about what the actual cost of this stress is on your body. And then what are we going to do to take action on it? Okay. And so how did I flip it around? Not fully 100%, but we're a work in progress. But how can all of you do it as well? And so we have a poll. I want everybody to first, Anamika's going to pull up that poll. I want you on a scale of 1 to 5. How would you rate your stress level this week? 1, I'm doing great. 2, pretty good. Number 3, managing but feeling it. Number 4, oh, I'm stretched thin. And number 5, I'm running on fumes. Where's the cookie? So everybody take a minute, fill out my poll for me. So if you notice how this poll is going right now, many of you, if you look at the responses, can they see the responses, Anamika?
Yes, we can share.
Okay, great. So out of 70, out of 77 people that actually responded, so many, I would say the majority said that, okay, half of you are managing it but feeling it. A little under half said you're pretty good. 11 were really honest with themselves and said, I'm stretched thin. And only 5 were really honest with themselves. I'm running on fumes. Right. And I really could use that cookie. And for 4 of you, you must be practicing yoga. Right. And had nice, good Zen moments before you came. So who picked managing, but feeling it? How are you managing your stress? Can somebody volunteer?
I can go, Kam.
Sure.
Majority of our stress comes from not taking actions or delaying actions. So I opted for it. That's feeling stretched and feeling stressed at the same time, but managing it. And how I manage it is by taking actions. Because when you don't take actions, things sort of pile up, and then you look at it and you feel more stressed. So I think the better way of dealing with it is taking actions.
So what kind of actions?
So if you have work, if you have a report to deliver, for example, right, get it done. If you're stuck with something, get it done. If you're stuck with something, if you need help, raise your hand. Um, if you have committed to yourself that I need to complete something by the end of this week, at least get that moving. If you're not able to complete for whatever reason, at least you know that you tried to complete it, but you couldn't complete it. So
Okay.
that's how I try to manage it.
So, but I mean, when I have all of these papers full of to-dos that need to get done, am I managing it if I'm trying to get it all done?
Well, I think it's then prioritizing actions matters the most, right? I mean, of course, if you have 10 actions to complete, um, everything cannot sit as a P1. So you have to manage it in a way that, what sits in the front and then what goes to the P2 and what goes to the P4s. At the end of the day, everything has to be completed, but of course, it'll take its own time.
Yeah. So what we're doing is and the reason I'm just picking on you, Emmett, right? It's because we all have big laundry lists, right?
Indeed.
And I'm constantly in motion.
Yep.
Right? Nobody can ever say I'm not trying to get my work done. I'm in constant motion. Right?
Mhm.
Sometimes too fast. Sometimes the sunster has to tell me to slow down. And so when you're in constant motion, it's not that we're not doing the work, it's that we just have so much work. And so we're going to talk a little bit about when we have so much work, how do we prioritize that? Well, let me see. Come on back. There we go. Okay. So let's talk first about what's cortisol. So it's your body's built-in alarm system. Now, I would say about 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't even know what cortisol was. And it was when the doctor, I was like, oh, I'm always working out. I can't lose the weight. What's going on? I'm always putting my body through stress 4 or 5 days a week. I'm at the gym. Like, I can't understand what's going on. And then my doctor started doing some tests on me, and they said your body's cortisol is extremely high, and you're in extreme parasympathetic mode. And I was doing intermittent fasting. I wasn't eating until lunch. Like, and sometimes you lose the weight, then you don't lose the weight. And I'm sure all of us work hard on it, right? When we're in jobs that sit for most of the day, it's very difficult for us to get out and move. But I was always trying and working hard. And cortisol is good in small doses, right? It's good for you because it gives you the energy to respond. For men, cortisol will go up when you're in competitive situations. The sunster when he's playing volleyball, that's probably when his cortisol levels up, right? And he's slamming it down. But like everybody's cortisol will go up, right? It's just how we respond when the cortisol is up. That's the challenge. And sometimes it's just a little bit harder for many of us to bring that cortisol back down, right? Because we're just in constant go, 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 go mode. And so a healthy cortisol rhythm is that in the morning is when it should spike. We should be like, yes, I'm ready. Let's take on the day, right? And we're going and we're doing well. And then by the afternoon, when everybody says, oh, that's when you want that chai, your cortisol starting to come down, your stress levels coming down now. Now you're getting ready. And then by bedtime, you're at it's at its low because you're ready to sleep, right? And that's normal. And that'll lead to a good, healthy sleeping pattern too. The challenge is when your cortisol stays high all the time. Like when I'm still energized and going through more work at 4 o'clock, when I'm sitting here at 7:30, my brain's still pumping away, or 9, my cortisol hasn't had time to come back down. And so then what happens? My brain is still, I call it the little hamster, still running in my brain at night, right? And so anybody ever have that trouble where they can't go to sleep because they're still thinking about what they were working on? Right? And it's bothering them and it's in their mind, right? It's because your cortisol's not gone down. You're still thinking about it. It's still processing it, right? You're still in that high because you're still dealing with the stress and you're trying to put it together, right? And so that tends to happen. It happens when Build It is coming. We joke, we say Build It is coming. It's like the winter is coming, but it's true. It spikes our cortisol. I used to laugh. I said I spent the entire year losing the weight, and then 2 months before Build It, I gained it all back, right? And now as I'm getting older, and I'm looking at, hey, I'm honest, I'm looking at that 50 number pretty soon. It's getting worse because now your body and your hormones are changing as well as you age. And so then that makes it even more, it's much harder. Don't all of us get upset sometimes when we see the young kids, they can eat whatever they want, and we're like, oh, I wish. They don't even gain a pound, right? They don't even gain, and I'm looking at some of you. I see some of you. You guys eat whatever you want. I try not to have a strong emotion against you sometimes, but it's true, right? And it happens to all of us. And so what we need to figure out is what is happening when that alarm is never shutting off. We can't sleep. We're tired, right? We're waking up in the middle of the night, sometimes multiple times. Our body will gain increased visceral fat. And so that means that, the fat will go in all the plumpy places, usually in the tummy, the booty, it's just natural. Those are the places that it'll go. Your immune function, you're more likely to get sick more quickly. Sometimes you'll be sick 3-4 times in the year. Your mind will have brain fog, right? You're gonna wake up always tired, and you're gonna be like, oh, I'm exhausted. And your heart, it has a very big impact on this when your cortisol level is always up, because you are 2 to 3 times higher likely at risk for cardiovascular issues because your body just can't fight anything anymore. And so it's really important that we talk about it. Again, I didn't learn about this until 4 or 5 years ago. And I was like, what the heck is wrong with my body? Everybody remember when I got my appendicitis? 2 weeks before Build It Live? I was in the hospital, and yet here I was hobbling around at Build It Live 2 weeks after my appendix were taken out. And even the day of my surgery, I was on a call because we had to approve graphics. I think Hamanchi remembers that. That's when I started to learn about this. And I was like, okay, because I couldn't recover from it. I felt like I was always in exhaustion after that. And my body just couldn't recover. And I did end up getting COVID at that time too, right? And so, yeah, first I thought maybe it was just long haul COVID. Maybe that's why the appendicitis. But then I started to do the research. And what I would say to everybody is to make sure that if your body is telling you something, don't ignore it. Go to the doctor, go find out. Your body is trying to tell you something, right? So pay attention to your body. Listen to it. If something is happening on a consistent basis, if you're feeling these symptoms on it repeatedly, it's not just, oh, I'm tired, or oh, it's stress. It's, let's go listen to our body and let's go find out what do we need to do in order to fix it, right? Because we should all actively be working to try to fix ourselves in some way, right? And so why does it hit us women a little bit different? Because it also is influenced by the cycles in our life for women, right? And so because our estrogen and our progesterone are constantly in flux, whether it's, during our life stages, pregnancy, postpartum, menopause, you name it, our body is constantly in flux. It's going to hit us differently at all times. And so understanding that about even the women in your lives is very important, right? That their cortisol levels will shoot up and down, right? And so when it's constantly up, because they're not just at work, they're also thinking about the 20 or 30 different things that are happening at the house too, right? Like the number of times the children are always calling me, Mom, I need this too. And they're like, Are you busy? I'm like, No, it's 1:30 in the afternoon on a business day. No, honey, of course I'm not busy. You know, and let me take your call and answer whatever problem you feel is urgent right now and couldn't wait until when I got home. That's the first thing that happens, right? And so we're trying to find that balance. And one of the things that happens is we start to feel guilty about it, right? And that is an added pressure on top of us. Is that okay, not only is our body reacting, but now I'm feeling guilty about it that it's reacting, right? And so now I'm putting an emotional stress on my brain too. Not only is my body reacting now my brain is also making me feel guilty. It's making me emotional. We have to stop, right? We have to be able to find that balance. And part of it is the social layer too, right? That's going on. We're constantly project managers, right? I am. I'm balancing what's happening in the home at all times, right? It's oh, this needs to happen here. This needs to happen here. Oh, we have to go here. Oh, on Saturday, I'm already thinking, oh, I've got this thing at 7 and 9. Someone's got a pot in the morning. Then I've got this thing, and then I've got to go sauce at 3 o'clock. I've got, and my calendar is constantly moving. And so sometimes people think, oh, Monday to Friday, oh, I'll rest on the weekend. We don't get to rest on the weekend. We got to clean the house. We got to go get the groceries. We got to get the stuff for the kids. We've got to, oh, don't forget soccer games, right? And practices, right? And then, you get the drama of you don't spend time with me. From yes, I have a drama queen at home. And his name is Sean. Right? Yeah, Sonny always laughs. He reminds me so much of you. And I said, so I'm the drama queen? I was like, I try, you know. But when you stack biological problems on top of all of these expectations that we have for ourselves, it it will put us into this chronic state of stress. And sometimes it's not just women. I'll even say, hey, look, sometimes even for kids, if you're the responsible person and you've got parents in the home, right? You feel guilty that you're not spending enough time with them, or they've got doctor's appointments, or we've got to go here, we've got to go do this, we've got to go do that. Like it just never stops sometimes. And so we have to be able to find that balance, right? It's true though. This can it'll lead to when your cortisol levels are high, you are 2 times more likely to get diagnosed with anxiety, especially women, right? Because we're constantly in this and depression globally. And this is from the World Health Organization, right? Like you'll get anxiety. Like you have to calm yourself down and you're like, oh, I'm getting anxious now, right? And you can sense it, right? When everybody's has anybody felt anxiety before? Can you recognize it in yourself? Show of hands. What do you feel when you're getting anxiety? Brave person, speak up.
I can speak up.
Okay.
Yeah, I can feel myself whenever I'm getting really anxious. It feels a little bit heavier in my chest. I have like I can start feeling my heartbeat a little bit more, so I kind of know that I'm getting anxious because I'm not like doing anything and like so actively noticing that. You mentioned the brain fog, that's another thing. I notice that like I'm either like not processing things the same way or I'm not able to think as fast. So that's another thing that I notice when I'm getting a little anxious. Yeah, it's like this weird like heaviness in my chest and like in my brain.
What about you, Shafali?
I feel my entire body and my entire surrounding hot, and then I feel that my brain is moving at a 10x speed, but I'm not getting the hold of anything. Like so much is happening, but nothing is happening. So that's anxiety for me. I
Yeah.
lose track of everything.
Yeah. What about you, Swati?
Sure, Cam. So whenever I'm like anxious, I feel like, that brain fog is there, unable to process, unable to prioritize things. And, I feel stuck. Some feeling of palpitation is also there, where, that
Oh
headache
yes,
is
I go
there.
like this. I
Yeah,
go like this. Like when I put my hand here
yeah,
on my neck, and the team can see it. It was funny the other day. KP said it. He said he can notice it when my tone of voice changes.
yes,
He says her tone of voice will, it'll the pitch will change, right?
absolutely.
And sometimes I'll feel myself going like this, just to
Yeah,
like.
feeling of
And
lost, like, yeah,
And you know why I do this? Actually, it was taught to me because it's a trigger for me now. So now when I go like this, it's me telling my brain to calm down because it's saying, okay, I can feel you. My heart rate is beating now, and I need you to calm down. Sometimes people will pinch themselves sometimes. They're taught like when you pinch yourself to remind yourself, like as a trigger, I go like this just because it reminds me to calm my heart rate down when I'm feeling anxious. What about you, Andrea?
I usually felt this panic creeping in. So
Yeah.
sometimes it has this, my breathing is kind of difficult and I feel like the walls are coming in and I can't really move or I feel like I'm in a very, very tight space. So yeah, that's for me.
Claustrophobia. I'm claustrophobic now.
Yeah,
I never
kind of like
used to
that.
be. I
Yeah,
never, when I was younger, I was never claustrophobic.
same.
I also blame my firstborn on it, but that's a different story. I blame him. I was like, it's all your fault. But yeah, I never like tight spaces. Like you feel like you can't breathe anymore, right? Because the anxiety starts to come in. What about you, Palak?
So for me, it's like I'm breathless, and then I shiver a lot, and it feels like I need to do something, but I can't process what exactly I need to do. And
Mm-hmm.
then the shivering is extreme. Like I cannot explain that.
Yeah. Remy, what about you? No, can't hear you, Remy. We'll come back to you. What about you, Sanya?
So, Cam, whenever I feel anxious, I feel breathlessness, like I can't breathe, concentrate, or, I just don't know what's happening around me.
Okay.
So,
Shaleha, you?
Hi, Cam. Whenever I feel anxiety, I it felt like there's something in my throat and I can't speak properly. My
Yeah.
hands start shaking and sweating a lot. So yeah, that's that's the feel I got when I feel anxious.
Okay. Remy, can we hear you again now? Did you fix
Yeah,
it?
hi
There
Cam.
we go.
Hi. So, yeah, and whenever, like, we all have this, I know, the tendency to, think or overthink a situation. So, whenever I hit sort of a anxiety, it seems like I am having a fear of left out and also not able to breathe anymore. Like, I'm not getting oxygen. Like, is there a limitation of oxygen surrounding me or what? So, yeah, this is
Yeah,
sort of things. Yeah.
we start to hyperventilate a little bit, go,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
So we
yeah, yeah.
times, yeah. And Gerlene, last one.
Yeah, so I have anxiety at that time when someone of my loved one is not well. So I started having fear, like what will happen. So that time I have a lot of anxiety, and I have palpitations also. Like my heart starts beating faster, and I'm not able to focus. If someone is asking me anything, like I'm just lost.
Yeah.
I'm not
Jonah, I
able to
think
focus. Yes.
we can't focus. Jonah, I think you were the last one, hun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes.
Jonah.
So, yes.
Oh, I just wanted to get to Jonah as well. Oh, okay. We'll come back to you next time. Okay, Jonah. So yeah, we all get anxious, right? And we struggle. We have this our body reacts differently to our anxiety in different ways, right? Remember, women are spending 2 to 10 times more. We're primarily the ones taking care of the kids, doing most of the housework, right? We're the ones that, our sleep, I'm a very light sleeper now. It's like you can sense when the children are up. Oh, wait, and who do they come to get? Us, right? We're the first ones out the door, but just so it disrupts our sleep, right? When we're stressed, we can't sleep. We're up first thing in the morning again, right? We just can't sleep. It doesn't matter. 4 or 5 hours, we're like, bing, up we go. But really, our body needs at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And then we burn out faster too, right? And so we'll get sick. We'll, I always joke with you, some of you ladies, like you're in your teens and you're talking to me about high blood pressure, and I'm like, what the heck? Come on, ladies. Like you're only in your tweens. We're not at the high blood pressure stage yet, right? So those are the type of things that can happen to you. And so it's all because of this invisible load that we have, right? We've got all of these other things that are happening that aren't necessarily on one of these lists, right? That we still have to take care of. And so I've learned that tracking it actually helps me, right? That rather than not having it listed, you should actually list it. So it allows me to put it into perspective in terms of and I like to put what's important and I have to do, what can I delegate to someone else. So I like to process this. But I want everybody to take a minute now. We're going to take 30 seconds. And I want you to think about your morning today. From the moment you woke up to 8:35 a.m. now, Eastern Standard Time, how many decisions did you make that nobody asked you to make? So count on your fingers. How many decisions did you have to make this morning? And it wasn't Sunny calling you and saying, hey, what should we do here? It's how many mental decisions did I have to make this morning? I had to make a decision on what to wear. I had to make a decision on what time I was going to get up. So take a minute, think about it. What am I going to make the kids for food? What's going to be dinner tonight? How am I going to get from work to the practice? Right? Think about it. You guys, some of you are in Eastern Time. You've made a lot of decisions throughout the day. For those of us on the East Coast, we're just starting our day. And I'm just thinking about all of the different decisions that I've already had to make. And it's only 8 a.m. Our mind is constantly making decisions for us. Right? And it's not that somebody asks us a question, it's that we are making decisions about the things that we need to do for ourselves. Right? And so that can tend to lead to burnout, right? Where at work, we've got our meetings, we've got our deliverables, we've got the team dynamic, our performance. And then at home, we've got our home management, we're taking care of the kids, our parents, the emotional toll that takes sometimes, you can't, and I get it because I hear from all the ladies, you can't go home and just be quiet and in your thing because, no offense, guys, our mother-in-laws are going to be like, why are you angry? It's like nothing against anybody. I'm just in my own mood today. I'm not mad at anybody, right? I am fine. I just need my own moment, right? But sometimes even that's a little tough for us, right? It's giving ourselves that moment. The family logistics, you always have to be on. You always have to be happy. You always have to be taking care of everybody. And so it's a switch that's very hard to turn off for us sometimes. And it's different when you have different cultures as well, right? In India, there is that family structure, right? There's cultural expectations. We have to go here, must call, oh, we got to go to this house. Oh, we've got to be here for them. Oh, what do you mean we're not going to go here today? We can't just say no, right? We can't just say, I'm not going to go today, or I'm not going to do this today. We can't. That's my sister. How could we not? Right? So there's all those emotional trials, and I see all the ladies because we talk about this, right? We talk about these issues that we're facing, right? And it's that permission gap that we have, the permission to give ourselves the moment. In the Philippines, a lot of you women are also, right? And there's a lot of pressure on that as well. That you are, you're in leadership roles, you're doing well, and this concept of giving for other, I don't say it as well as Sunny says it. How do I say it? Anamika, say it for me.
Bayanihan.
Yes. See? And so there's a lot of pressure there then, right? And then obviously in the US, we're starting to build this self-care culture a lot more. And it seems like we have an illusion of choice, but do we really? You will say, oh, I'm going to have a self-care moment, but isn't it even stressful going to the yoga class? How many decisions I have to make in order to get to the yoga class? Yeah. It's like there's stress in going to the class, and it's self-care time. So, even that's a challenge for us, right? In India, we've got that joint family structure, right? And so sometimes it can be, hey, no, I always say, I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have our family structure and our parents to help support me and help raise these children, right? It takes a village for us to be successful and to find balance. But with it, we're also managing relationships. And we need to build that career. And we have to tell our families, hey, this is what's next, and this is what I want to do. And, it's that permission gap that a lot of women feel in tech. They have to justify or apologize for their ambition. And we talk about it during our women's forums, right? We want to, it's okay to be successful and to go out and work, and to be in our own right. And so, there's a different pressure there. In the Philippines, it's that communal support. You're responsible for everybody, right? And it's great that you're celebrating women who lead, but then there's also that added pressure of being the breadwinner that, why is it, I always tell my kids, I say, I want to make sure that you find a woman who will work with you, right? And even in the US today, it's very difficult for a single provider to sustain their homes on their own, right? And so, especially if you're doing for entire families. So I say, hey, I want to make sure you find women who are educated in their own right and can contribute to the home. It's not fair for my boys to be the only contributor. I want someone who's confident and strong in their own right and can also contribute. And that's just me as a mother and a parent thinking that way, right? And so sometimes that can lead to, and I feel this all the time, oh, you're a strong woman, right? You're a strong woman. Oh, you're so strong, Ham, right? And so then all of a sudden you're like, yes, I'm strong, I'm strong, I'm strong, I'm strong. And then sometimes you're not strong. Sunster knows that's when I go into his room and I say, I just need a hug. That's it. Give me a hug. I just need to, it's kind of like I boop, 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 boop. My battery goes back up and out I go again. Right. And sometimes he just needs to listen to me. I just need to let it all out. And then I'm done. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. Up the battery goes, like when you charge yourself on the games, it goes boop, 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 boop. You've got your life. It's charged again and off I go. Right. But we all have that narrative and it's a little bit tough for us to settle. Right. And in the United States, it's a little bit harder because we're now saying, hey, it's your responsibility and it's all self-care. So if you're struggling, it must be your fault because you're not taking care of yourself. What do you mean I'm not taking care of myself?
Thank you.
I don't know, Sushant, what happened? But it's not that we're not taking care of ourselves, right? We are. It's this the entire burden of managing all of the systemic stress is now on us individually, right? And so it's, well, why don't you just go to the gym? Okay, all sleep is overrated. Yeah. I actually stress my sleep a lot now. And I that's where I don't compromise anymore, is my sleep. And actually so I used to, like I told you, I used to do the fasting as well. I don't do that anymore. So I started to learn things that impact my body and my cortisol level. And my doctors were like, okay, well, what do we need you to do? And what do we need you to stop doing? Right. So the first thing they did is they said, hey, you need enough sleep. If your body exhausted, we want you to not use an alarm. And for actually, when I first got sick, I did that. I stopped turning on my alarm. My body would naturally wake up at about 7:30, but I would let my body wake itself up. And now, of course, I have an alarm, but on Saturdays and Sundays, I will not turn my alarm on. I have to wake up naturally. And so that means that my body is rested, that it has woken up itself. I also don't fast in the morning anymore, because that also was causing stress on my body, because now you're waiting until, no, I got to wait till 12. I got to wait till 12. I got to wait till 12, but your body is hungry. Right? And so when I'm thinking about it, oh wait, I know I got to wait till 12. I can't. I've got to hit the 16 hours. Now what am I doing? I'm causing stress to my body. When you're hungry, eat, is what I was told. When you're hungry, eat. Eat good food, eat healthy food, but eat. And so that's something that I changed as well in my own way of dealing with it. And remember, it's not a one size fits all. What works for me may not work for all of you, right? It's that we just have to be intentional about thinking about how we're going to deal with stress, right? And stress does hit all. There's certain components of it that will hit all of us. Like if you are high stressed, you will gain weight. Male, female, does not matter. You will gain weight, right? Your body will react to the cortisol. You will, you'll the visceral fat will start to come in. That's the ugly fat, So like those are the things you will struggle to sleep, right? You will. Your body will tend to go one way. So we want to make sure that we're addressing. So I have another poll. What is the one thing that would reduce your stress the most right now? So A, more help at home. B, permission to say no at work. Well, I don't know about that one. C, better sleep. D, less screen time. E, more time for myself. Pick an answer, everybody. Well, everybody's putting their answer in. I had even stopped drinking caffeine. When I go to India, I struggle because they got to try to find me a decaf coffee, which is a struggle because decaf, they give me a little packet and I'm like, this isn't coffee. What is this? This is a powder. But because even caffeine impacted my stress levels. And so I am now only back to 1 cup of chai. I still only drink decaf, and that's only and now I've removed the sugar from it too. It's just like, ugh, that. So the majority of you right now are saying better sleep. Less screen time is very important. More time for yourself. It's good. And what would that more time for yourself look like? Right? Would that more time for yourself, is it just like, is there intentionality about what you're going to do for yourself during that time? Is it just for self-reflection? A lot of people, when you get in the car, you'll turn on music, right? Or you'll listen to something. I actually, majority of the time, when it's just me and my dogs, I don't even turn on the music. My brain will start to process things, and I'll self-reflect throughout the day. And I'll just take a moment to think about what was going on, how is it going on, and I'll just calmly, it's like my moment with my brain to talk myself through it, of what happened, how did it happen, and sometimes you want to talk it out with friends, and that's fine as well. right? And I have a great circle of friends that are some of my besties that I want to talk things out. Sometimes it's my kids that I just want to let it out, right? Or the sunster, you know? I'll be like, I just need you to listen to me for a second, right? Okay. So sleep is really important for all of us and more time for ourselves. Okay. So how do we do that? So Sunster has already talked to you guys a lot about, screen time, but there's different ways that we're going to be able to handle this. Now, before we talk about solutions, I just wanted to take a moment and I want to recognize all the ladies on it is International Women's Day on Sunday. And so we work hard and we appreciate you, right? And we just want to take a moment and really applaud all of the work. We know how tough it is for all of us to balance the load and still be here, right? Because it is tough, right? I laugh all the time. Sunster can travel wherever he needs to go, but the moment mom's leaving, what do you mean you're going? Where are you going? Why are you going? My 10 o'clock, my phone starts ringing. Why aren't you home yet? I'm like, I'm at a party. So where are you? And they wait up for me, So there is that extra feeling that, okay, what's happening here now, right? So there's a lot of additional load that we're handling. So the first thing we need to start doing as a solution is we need to have the permission to pause and just take a moment, right? Rest is not laziness, right? It's recovery. And so what does that rest look like for you, right? You need to be able to downshift your body. Sometimes I like watching the cooking shows. It's not like I'm going to cook that food. I don't necessarily know why, right? But I'll sit there watching the cooking show, right? And it's like there's no way I'm going to be able to make that dish that they just made, right? But just sitting or design shows, like it's just like it's mind numbing. Sometimes and TV may or may not be your thing. I like to read books, like it's whatever you brings. But sometimes like I do it when I get home from work sometimes because I want to just numb my brain a little bit. I want to just pause it because or else your brain is constantly running, right? And you can't outwork biology, right? It's your body, right? The only thing that you can really do is take a moment to pause. And whatever that pause looks like, all I want you to do is try to shut your brain down for a bit. Okay. So I just want you to calm it down. And it could be reading a book. It could be yoga for those of you that do yoga. It could be a walk if that's great for you. Like whatever your mental rest moment is, I need you to be able to do that, right? Because your body needs to downshift your cortisol. I found that when I struggle to sleep, I'll actually go for a walk at night and then I'll take a shower. And so then that will actually a hot shower. That'll then get my brain ready. Right? So the walk is very helpful. But again, for those of you, it can't be a stress walk, right? It can't be they say, okay, again, always doing research, how are we losing this weight? If you're going up the hill at a hard pace, it's great. Yes, you're losing weight, but your body's cortisol is going up now because now I'm stressing out my body again. And so you're almost, it's like you got to find the right balance, especially when your cortisol levels are high. There's a tool, Sunster taught me this first. And so I'm sharing it with all of you and we're going to practice this. Okay. And so now he's, when he sees that he's like, okay, we got to just calm down for a second. We just got to calm down. And so we inhale for 4 seconds. We're all going to do this together. We're going to hold our breath for 7 seconds. And then we're going to exhale for 8 seconds. Okay. So let's practice this together. And I'm going to say it, but everybody just take your hands off your computers. Nobody's touching anything. We're going to go inhale for 4. Hold it for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do that one more time because this time I'm not going to talk. We're going to go up, hold, exhale. And we do that 5 times. It has helped in many a disagreement. When emotions are high, we're like, okay, stop, breathe it out for a second, and it will bring your cortisol level and it'll calm us down a little bit, right? So 4 in, 7 hold, 8 out. Okay? 4 in, 7 hold, 8 out, right? It hits that parasympathetic mode, right? And it's telling you to rest and digest. Like just calm down for a second, right? Like it's just, that's how we're doing this, okay? And so we did it together. Number 2, I want you to do an energy audit, right? And I think you guys have probably done this with Sunny before, right? What gave you energy this week, right? What made you happy? And then what drained your energy, right? So energy audits are good, where then I look at and I say, okay, well, of the things that drained my energy, what can I assign to someone else to do? Or, and not all of us have that luxury. Hey, I use Instacart. I am very honest about it. I do not go to the grocery store. Why? The grocery store causes me anxiety. Okay. Everybody's in there pushing their carts. They're going at it. It's 2.5 hours. Your child, you bing, ding, ding, ding. It's a lot. Right. And I don't have 2.5 hours to go into the grocery store. I will pay you the 10% margin markup you're going to do for my free time, because think about that. That was 2 hours of my me time that I could have given myself, that I went to the grocery store instead. Right. And so I choose that for myself because I am so busy, but everybody can make their choices. Right. I want you to circle 1 on your list. So I want you to make your list, and I'm going to have you circle 1 that you are either going to delegate, reduce, or eliminate this week. Okay. So on your energy drainer list, you're going to make this list. You're going to figure out 1 that you are going to either delegate, reduce, or eliminate. That's it. Just 1 this week. Okay. And then we have to learn boundary scripts. Okay. Boundary scripts are when you have to say no nicely. Okay. So here's 4 that I've given, and I'm always teaching the girls the different scripts. When somebody asks you to help with something, I'd love to help with that. Can we look at timing so I can do it well? Right? When you have a list full of things and you need to figure it out. I hear this from the Sunster. I'm going to protect this hour for focused work. I'll be available after that. I need to think about that before I commit. Can I get back to you tomorrow? And then I'm at capacity this week. Can we revisit this next week? Right? And what is this doing? It's telling you, and even telling your own mind, and it's telling the individual that, look, I'm full. Right? I'm full. So how can I, it's not that I don't want to, it's just that I'm full. Right? And so how are we going to address it? And so I just, before we finish out, and I got one more slide, I just want you to think about, what is the one thing you are going to give yourself the permission to do or not do this week? And I want you to write it down. It should take 2 minutes. I want you to write it down. What's the one thing that you're going to give yourself permission to do or not do this week? Put it on a Post-it, put it on your desk, so you'll see it every day this week. I sometimes give myself permission not to go to people's functions, you know, that I'm just too tired, I can't do it, or reschedule it for another weekend. Permission to say no. So I just want you guys to think about this, right? Once you've done your postie, that your stress is not a character flaw. It's a physiological response. It's compounded by biology and the social expectations that we're putting on ourselves. Okay? So stress is real. And it has an impact on your body. And mental load is real. And it's measurable, right? We have to be able to say, yes, it is. And what is the impact of it? And so taking a pause for a moment, it's necessary, right? It's not a luxury, it's necessary. Sometimes it's one small shift, right? I enjoy going to the gym, but I knew I had a lot of work. And so I took a month off so that I could sleep and rest, right? I gave myself that permission, right? So I want you to think about that, right? I want you to pick one thing. I want you to protect it and make a decision of what are we going to do this week? What are we going to say, give our permission to pause for? And what's that one thing that's an energy drainer that you're going to stop doing this week? Okay? And with that, I want to thank all of you for joining us. I know I try to be respectful of our time. I ended exactly at 9, but does anybody have anything that they wanted to share with us quickly? I know I taught you all about stress, right? Oh my gosh.
Kam, can I add?
Sure.
Yeah, I think I just want to thank you. It's a wonderful reminder. A lot of times, Cam, we don't think about what you taught us. We know that we're aware, but we don't reflect back. I think your session for me is a reflection and it's a great learning. Thank you, Cam.
Yeah. It took me when my body wouldn't recover, and I'm always recovering. I realized I had to take a moment to learn about it and to just take a pause and reflect on it. And it's a constant work, guys. It's constant work. Your body's just going to react to it differently, and each and every time as you're growing older. You know, it's a luxury when you're 20. As you hit your 30s, it gets harder. As you hit your 40s, it's going to get even harder, and as you hit your 50s, it's even harder than that.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's just as long as we're conscious of what's happening, right? If we're conscious, we can then take the right steps, right? How are we going to have better sleep? We had our sleep doctor, right? How are we going to eat healthier, right? There's the rule that you shouldn't eat at least 2 hours before you go to bed, right? So you try that. I will actually stay up then, and I'll wait for the 2 hours, just because I know that my body won't process if I eat late, and so I'll give myself that additional time. But it was a wonderful session. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. You guys are back with my Sunster. Sunny, are you there? Did you want to add anything? I loved being your guest host today. I don't know if the Sunster's there or not. Anamika, is you there?
No, Sunny's not there,
Okay.
but yeah, but thank you so much, Cam. I think everybody, um, first of all, it was an amazing session, and especially the permission to, do
Oh,
something for myself and not for the week. I think I'm just gonna, put that, and I'm gonna remind myself, and I'm gonna repeat it every week. I think it's an
yeah.
amazing reminder. And with that, everyone, thank you so, so, so much for joining the session today. And before we wrap up, Cam, is just a request. If you can unshare your screen, everybody can come on the camera, and we
Oh,
can
yeah.
wish each other happy Women's Day with our heart
Yeah.
emojis all out so that we can click an amazing picture from the session today, if that's okay, on the
Oh,
count off, okay?
let's go.
All right then. Who's taking the screenshot? Abby, are you doing it?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. On the count of 1, 2, and 3. Happy Women's Day, everyone.
Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day,
Happy
everyone.
Women's Day.
Women's Day.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cam. Thank you, everyone. See you next Friday
Thank you. Thank you,
with
everyone.
Sunny.
Thank you.
Thank you.